Chapter 2, Section 5, Literal Equations and Formulas. A literal equation is an equation with two or more variables. This first example asks us to solve the equation 3x plus y equals 10 for y. What does y equal if x equals 1 and if x equals 3? When we're looking at the original equation, 3x plus y equals 10, and we're wanting to solve it for y, that means that we need to get a positive y by itself. In order to do that, we need to use the inverse operation to get rid of 3x. So to get y by itself, you have to subtract 3x from both sides. When you do that, you're left with y equals 10 minus 3x. Now that we have isolated our variable and we've solved for solved for y, we need to find what y equals if x equals 1. So we need to plug in 1 for x. When we do 3 times 1, it's just 3. So 10 minus 3 is 7. So when we plug in x equals 1, then we get y equals 7. We need to do the same thing and plug in 3 for x. When we plug in 3 for x, we get y equals 10 minus 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, so y equals 10 minus 9, which is 1. So when x equals 3, y equals 1. The next example says, what equation do you get when you solve the equation a over x minus b over x equals c for x? Again, our goal is to get x by itself. If you notice, we have fractions here, a over x minus b over x. Remember when you're subtracting fractions and you have the same denominator, which in this case I do, the denominator in both of these fractions is x, I just subtract the numerators. So I can rewrite this problem as a minus b, subtracting the numerators, over x, since both denominators were x equals c. Now I need to solve for x, which means I need to get it by itself. Remember when you have a problem that looks like this, your division bar creates parentheses around a minus b. So I need to get rid of dividing by x first. When I get rid of dividing by x, I need to multiply by x on both sides, which leaves me as a minus b equals c times x. X is still not by itself. I'm multiplying x by c, so I need to use inverse operations and divide by c on both sides. When I divide by c, my c cancels out, and I'm left with a minus b over c equals x. And I have solved for x. X is by itself on one side, and it is positive. These are a list of formulas that you'll need to know. You should already know the first 5 of them. Distance traveled is distance equals rate times time. And then temperature is Celsius equals 5 nights times the Fahrenheit minus 32. You do need to try to remember the distance formula. As far as the temperature formula goes, I'm not going to say at this point that you need to have it memorized. But the perimeter of a rectangle, circumference of a circle, area of a rectangle, area of a triangle, area of a circle, those should all be things that you have seen before, and so you will need to have those memorized. They will not be given to you. The next example says, what is the length of a rectangle with an area of 98 square inches and base of 14 inches? You're given the area and the side length, so be careful when you're plugging this into the area of a rectangle formula. Remember, the area of a rectangle is length times width. In this case, I'm going to plug in and I'm going to say 98, the area of the rectangle, equals 14, the base, times L. In this case, you could have chosen any variable. To get the length by itself, you need to divide by 14 on both sides. And when you divide by 14, you find that 7 is going to be the missing side length. And it would be 7 inches. The last example says Karen walks 3 miles per hour and covers 12 miles. For how long did she walk? Anytime you see something like miles per hour, feet per minute, meters per second, that is going to be your rate. It's how far you're going and how long it's going to take you to go that distance. So 3 miles per hour is going to be the rate. It says she covers 12 miles. Well, we have distance, rate, and time. We know that our rate is 3 miles per hour. Our distance is going to be 12 miles, and it asks us how long she walks. So distance equals rate times time. When I plug in what I know, I'm going to have 12 equals 3 times time. When you solve for t, you need to divide by 3 on both sides, and you find that 4 equals t. And this would be 4 hours because it tells you 3 miles per hour. So your distance would be measured in miles and your time is being measured in hours. Today's assignment is on page 120. It's numbers 12 through 28 even.